great to be with you on this Thursday, this Veterans Day. And I am so thankful for our country and for the men and women who have sacrificed to give us the freedom that we have. We had the privilege of honoring many veterans last night. What a joy that was. And to see God use the gospel in their hearts. And we need to realize that as we move forward, we're seeing things that just are very frustrating. We look at the military and we see leadership that clearly does not have the values that we've had in the past. We see a whole different philosophy of life by our government establishment and so forth. But that ought not surprise us. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, we read, "Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness." We shouldn't be surprised that there's a vast difference between how we view life from a biblical perspective and how the world that is lost views life. If they don't have a biblical basis, and we've had that in the past, where even the lost have had a biblical basis for a life's view, a worldview, if they don't have that, well, they're definitely going to have a paradigm that is going to go contrary to what is reasonable and right from our perspective as biblical Christians. And so we should not let this darkness throw us, and instead, as verse 7 says, "For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night, but let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation." We are blessed to have all the equipment we need to fight this spiritual battle. And we need to have a sober thinking, a thinking that is biblical, that has the wisdom of God, that is correct, has the right perspective, and just have a balance in our lives. We should have faith and love, that breastplate that keeps us from having the arrows of Satan's doubts hit us. We need to believe that God is going to do what he said he is going to do. And we need to be more worried about others and the glory of God than ourselves, and not let ourselves get overwhelmed by that. And then the helmet, the hope of salvation, who we are in Christ, all that we have, and what that means for the future. And the very next verse says, God's not appointed us to wrath. God's not appointed us to the time of tribulation. So as bad as things get, we're not going to go through what we read in the book of Revelation about the tribulation. So there is much that should encourage us in regard to being children of the light. And so I want to just urge you today, let's walk with a sober, sound thinking. Let's have light in our souls. Let's realize that we've got the right perspective. And let's don't get frustrated. I've said this many, many times, but when we get frustrated and bitter at the different powers that be in the lost world that affects us, we do nothing but hurt ourselves, and we let the darkness that's in their lives come into our lives. Instead, we need to have the great expectancy that God's working, and the light of God should shine forth from us so that we can be the witness that we ought to be. So today, let's walk as children of the light. May God encourage us, and may we realize that we've got all we need to live a productive life in these days.